All right, sorry about that. I got cut off and I kept talking, but the content that I'd put in there, I didn't feel like going over again. But I still had a little bit of input to convey on this whole forage thing. When we switch over to the homestead model, we're going to have a lot less animals, and we have the time to make more intricate products, because when you're doing the commercial model, it's pieces. You know, you gotta have to have piecework. You have to have a lot of this, a lot of that, and then get them all sold at once. And you know, that's the way that works. And I didn't like that much. And so in a lot of ways, being pushed out of the commercial end of it is actually a good thing. Because, like for instance, I just, these radishes that I picked, I took them over to the pigs, and I had the time to stand there and feed them to them and, you know, just watch what was happening. So I'll pull one out here. And this is kind of a medium-sized one. And what I noticed is they took the tops off first. That's what they wanted first. So what does that indicate? You know, does that mean that they need it, or does it just taste better? So I took one of them and I cut it, and I got to a place on this radish that it was really nice, and I ate it, and it was just as sweet as can be. We've been eating them for about a month. And so then I took the tops and I ate that, and I really took the time to stand there and think, now, if I was going to sit down in this field and have lunch, what would I eat? Normally I just eat whatever is put on the table in front of me, but what would I eat if I sat down in this field for lunch? Now, I didn't come up with an answer, but it's just, that's the type of thing that you can do when you're homesteading. You can kind of contemplate these things, and they lead you places where you normally might not go in the commercial model, if that makes any sense. One of the reasons I think this is a good time to bring this up, that in the homestead model we want to include pigs. I mean, I think it'd be a good idea if you had the time and your job was such that you could milk a cow. I think that's a great one too, depending on how your land is. But one of the reasons why we want to use the pigs is because this is harvest time. So like the kids are out there today and they're picking all the raspberries. Well, some of the raspberries aren't good. Do we want to just throw them on the ground and bring flies in, all that? No, we want to have somebody that can utilize those. So pigs will utilize those. Also, we have apple trees here, and we'll take all the apples that we can use. We'll make all the applesauce that we need for the whole year. And when that's done, we'll fill our stomachs with them daily. But when that's done, we're still going to have a lot of apples. I could take a bushel basket or several of them to market, I suppose, this time of year, and spend many hours trying to sell apples. But everybody's got apples now, so apples are not in demand. But they'll go to the pigs. You know, the apples will go to the pigs, and the pigs don't care if they're wormy apples or they have a bee in them or they've hit the ground and got bruised. They don't care. So then my apples don't become a liability. They become an asset, because a piece of pork is good all the time. You know, it always has value. But I think this is going to be an interesting model to pursue, because let's say that we cannot exchange what we grow on this farm for US dollars. Let's say that that's the case. I mean, that could get really interesting. Could really get interesting. Okay, could I trade it for dancing lessons for my kids? Could I trade it for you know, foot massages for the wife? or what? You know, I mean, it could get really interesting, I think. And like this weekend, we did some visiting at a music festival, and it was really interesting, the folks that we ran into and some of the things that we talked about. And, you know, a lot of people have dealt with the same type of thing that we have with the agencies that are really impersonating as government. They're really not government, but they're actually corporations. But, you know, we got to deal with it for now. And so how do we carry on with our lives without, you know, dropping our drawers for them? And so we have to figure that out, and I think we will. So anyway, this is really interesting. I really think this is cool. One of the things that you can know here is if you go through and you harvest these, right? You just pull a whole bunch of them. You get the tops off of them. You can take these tops and you can ferment them. These can also be pickled. They can be fermented, and it's suitable for human consumption. Any of the places on it that might have a worm, I just happen to have picked one that has a worm. Some sort of critter has eaten through it. The pigs don't care. They actually like it. So we would use as much of this as we can for us, and then it all goes to those guys. Another thing that you can do in the homesteading model, because you have time, go through here and selectively pull these things and get them fed to some of your other animals. We can give these to our laying chickens. We have 50 of them here, so that's our source of eggs. They will eat these. They will eat these, and there's good nutrition in these. We don't want to be feeding our animals any kind of single, you know, like mono feed. Who would want to eat that? Who wants to eat just Cheetos all the time? I got a low battery here. All right, well, that's my signal to cut this one off. Sorry the last one got cut off, but I'll see what I can do to keep these coming. It's Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Remember, anyone can farm.